Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Today, Sunday, March 8th, 2026, is International Women's Day, an occasion that affords humanity the chance to reflect on the issues affecting women, evaluate the level of progress in seeking solutions to the identified challenges, as well as articulate positions going forward. The theme for this year's commemoration is Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls, which is designed to focus on dismantling structural barriers and ensuring equality. In Nigeria, events are being organized to highlight the relevant issues, including here on Arise News, where everything is now set for this evening's Arise Women of Impact in Africa Awards. Joining us now to have a conversation on the 2026 International Women's Day is Feyi Bello, who is the CEO of MotherWell Group and founder of Swadu, a digital support platform created to help mothers stay organized, access trusted resources, and navigate motherhood with more structure and support. She's a maternal well-being advocate, community builder, and technology founder, who says she's also focused on reducing the invisible load of motherhood in emerging markets. Good morning, Feyi, and happy International Women's Day to you.
Thank you so much.
And I just so happy International
Thank you.
Women's
I was
Day.
like, where's
I shouldn't have said that since.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. All right, it's your day, ladies and Feyi.
Yes, it is.
What do you say to all the plans? I mean, we know how we're celebrating today.
Yes.
You know, we will be at, okay, I mean, everybody knows it will be a hotel, but of course.
I'm going to be at another panel discussion just talking about these issues that are dear to my heart
Today?
as well, yes.
All right.
And I tend to work throughout the month. This International Women's Day to some, it's a month to me. And so it's a month-long series of events and activities that we're doing to just ensure that women are taken care of and prioritized.
Also speak to the theme of this year's celebration,
Yes, it's
which is rights, justice, action, in particular, for all women and girls.
I think the time is now. I mean, more than any, I feel like for me, it's one of those things where we just have to focus on the women's issues. I think we focus so much on other things, and that has distracted us and brought the world to where it is today. I think that there's so much more in store that people don't realize, that women's issues are human rights issues. And once we start to focus there, we create a better world for everyone else. Because one of my passions really is making sure that I create systems, structures, and infrastructure to ensure that mothers are prioritized, taken care of, and accompanied on the journey of motherhood, where it's not done in isolation. And so it's essential. It's essential at this point for women to be prioritized, for their rights, for all the things that are availed to us to be prioritized and to also be platformed.
So when you focus on your platform is mostly for women, and we're talking about action. I think we're very good at the talking part, but in terms of action, you're trying to bridge the gap. I'm guessing between the talking and the actually doing.
Absolutely.
In what ways is technology innovating to help women or to help mothers?
I think, first of all, the issue has been the gap. You know, the world has moved from how it was. Technology has done so much to help us the ways we live now is completely influenced by technology, and almost every industry has moved in that light, but motherhood has kind of been left where it's been for years. And so with what I'm doing with MotherWell Group, I'm working really hard to ensure that there's technology that's focused on women's issues. You know, for me, I became a mom in 2019, and
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm a mother of two children, and it was just alarming to realize that very little is in place for moms like me on the continent to ensure that we're mothering well, to ensure that postpartum depression rates are being reduced, to ensure that to ensure that moms have community. Because the thing about it is, our villages, it takes a village to raise a child, and those villages are being broken down now, and they're not what they used to be before. And so with what I'm hoping to do is to reestablish those villages through tech, and to ensure that moms have a consolidated place to engage one another and to get all the resources that they need to ensure that they have what it is that they need to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive,
When did you start this advocacy and MotherWell for
So
in particular?
MotherWell started for me in 2024. It was just, coming into motherhood, I had my son in 2022, and the gaps were it was insane. And whenever I would speak to different women, studies initially showed that 1 in 5 women are struggling with postpartum depression. It's actually 9 out of 10 women that are struggling. The numbers are staggering. And my work is in the care economy, which is an $11 trillion industry that is just thoroughly underestimated, thoroughly undervalued. The care economy is where all paid and unpaid work that pertains to the families, societies, and communities are sustained, are held. And so with all this work that I'm doing, my goal is to ensure that for us on this side of the continent, we're prioritized. The women have the resources that they need to ensure that they are, taken care of, and their work is prioritized.
You're speaking specifically in terms of mothers or in general
So
terms?
for me, my goal is mothers first, because, care has many faces. There's aging care, there's adult care, there's all types of care. But for me, it has to be motherhood first, because that's where I'm solving for my problem first. And hopefully the problems of the women around me. Coming into motherhood, being a Nigerian, coming into being a millennial, coming into this, this terrain, it was very clear to me that there is very little support for us. And so all of the work I'm doing, be it the technology that I'm building, be it the events that I hold, be it the community that I create, it's all to bridge that gap and to ensure that no mother's in isolation. I believe that there is no better resource for a mom like a mom with a shared experience. And so what I'm trying to do is to just bridge that gap, to create less loneliness, to create less struggle, so that there's nothing like when you go to you have a situation and you go to someone else and they say, this is exactly what happened to me and this is how I dealt with it. Sometimes I find that mothers are even more resourceful to me than medical professionals. They're more resourceful to me than even the experts in the field, because the importance to a mother to that certain situation is nothing like anyone else's. And moms are extremely resourceful, do anything in our power to ensure that problem is solved.
Well done.
Yes, very interesting work, but just away from mothers for a bit, because it is International Women's Day. When we're thinking about how, because you've spoken about community a lot, and women leaning on each other to help each other grow.
Absolutely.
There's the false saying in this area that when women don't help women. But if we're looking at broader society, if we're looking at political engagement, if we're looking at just general mental health and welfare, do you see Nigerian society or Nigerian women moving in the right direction?
Absolutely. I feel like, there isn't enough I'm seeing from, the top, but I feel like as a society, we are moving in the right direction. Those conversations are being held, they're being prioritized. We have people like Senator Natasha, who has been she's doing a fantastic job by opening up to say those things that we're usually too afraid to speak up on. I feel like we're coming out of our shells, and we're coming into our true potential by having these conversations and by not shying away from the difficulty that arises when you tend to say your truth and speak up. I think it's very, very admirable that the women of this generation are not taking no for an answer, and they're actually also holding people accountable to a higher standard.
Do you think if we had more women in government,
absolutely,
that would be
this why you already know how I feel. Absolutely, I want to see more of the women that we celebrate. A lot of these a lot of these International Women's Day platforms will be filled with faces of incredible Nigerian women. What a joy would it be to see some of these women in office making decisions for this country. It would make a huge difference. Don't you think so?
I do. But yes.
You think Nigeria would be a better place if women are in more positions of power?
Absolutely.
You really think so?
Absolutely. Whenever, in my professional capacity, I've worked in, many different firms, many different industries, over 12 years. The women that lead these companies, you see them, they're bold, they're beautiful, they're intelligent. Nigerian women are intelligent. We're not small. There's this thing where, women are, I guess, shunned in other parts of the world. But in Nigeria, there's an Oga and Madam always, and both are prioritized and both are given the same reverence. I would love to see a Madam President someday, and I'm not even being I genuinely believe that in my lifetime there will be one. There has to be.
Maybe
We
we
need
should
a
start with the
change.
governor first.
We'll take what we can.
I
We'll
mean,
take what we
just kidding,
can.
of course. Why not? Why not? If not, I mean,
We'll
there are a
take what we
number
can.
of names that we can mention, either as governors
Absolutely.
or even as president of the Federal Republic. But what do you think informs the disconnect between the lack of access, for successful women in public service, in politics, whereas, we have a good number of them in many disciplines who are doing quite well, in banking, in media, I dare say, in creative sector, in tech, women are doing quite well. But then when it comes to, the crossover that is necessary, like you've pointed out, it's tough, isn't it?
I think it's also the culture within. It's the culture within the government. No woman is trying to go into a situation where she knows she's also, doomed to fail. These places are not seen as safe spaces for us, and they are not. There's just not. When we were offline, we were talking about some of the issues that we're facing, and I just made a comment about the culture of what is celebrated here. Women don't want. Most women that I revere and respect don't want to get into those types of rooms where they now have to deal with that. You find that most impactful women are making these impacts outside of the government because they actually can. There's freedom to move, there's freedom of expression there. But when they come into these places of the halls of power, I just don't think that they find the same support and the same infrastructure that actually wants or roots for their success.
Yes. Well, I do agree with you in some ways, but I also think that it's also important that we have seen so many women in our history buck that trend. And, you mentioned Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduagon today, but even if we think about Hajia Gambo Sawaba, if we think about, even Erelu Fayemi, like if we look across our history, we see a lot of women buck the trend of staying away from uncomfortable spaces. Do you think that's is it necessary for us to my question.
Is it necessary for us to continue trying?
Yes.
Oh, we have to. We have to. I think it always just starts with one. Who is that one that is bold enough, brave enough to actually go into the fiery furnace for all of us and carry her with us? Carry us with her, rather. It's tough, I won't lie, and I wait for the day where one person says, "Send me, I will go." Until then, we have different facets of women in power, and we, more power to all of them. It's International Women's Day. More power to every single woman doing what she's doing, But there are different types of women that exist, and there's a specific type of woman Nigeria needs, and I believe she's coming.
What type of woman would that be?
One, she's intelligent, she's capable, she's resilient, she's not afraid. She has a breadth of knowledge about the country, about the history of this country, what it takes to build systems. She's capable. She's probably done it in her personal life in many ways, and is trying to do it actively on an international scale. Because I think Nigeria is ready for the international conversation in a big way. I want to see my nation do things like across sectors, not just the entertainment sector. I kind of want us to really become all that we are destined to be. And it sounds like fairy tales, but I do believe that the day is coming, and I believe it's sooner rather than later.
The description you've given is that a description of Feyi Bello?
Now you're putting her on the spot.
Can you imagine? You know what I would say? Never say never. Is what I would say. Never say never. You just never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I don't. But the Feyi that is before you today is not interested in that. But let's see what I'm 33 today. Let's see what 56-year-old me thinks. Who knows? I'm actually rooting for this one.
Okay, I think it's time we go on a short break. Thank you.
All right, we have
Thank you so much for having
before
me.
we go.
Yeah.
It's your day today. What's one key word that you think that the Nigerian woman needs today? That should reverberate in everybody's brain. today. Yes, you have to. You have to breathe heavily about that.
I think the theme of what we were just talking about is she's capable. She's capable
Absolutely.
of everything that she.
And all the rights must be intact.
Absolutely.
And then action must follow.
Absolutely. And all we need from the men is their support.
Absolutely. All right, Feyi Bello, we want to thank you for joining us on the Morning Show
Absolutely.
today.
Thank you
Happy
so much for
International
having me.
Women's Day to you once
Thank you
again.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.